What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Danny back again at the Cornercade, and today, guys, you guessed it, we're gonna take a look at Time Crisis Deluxe from Arcade1Up. Super controversial title, super controversial price points, but guys, after a year and a half of waiting for this title, it has made it to the Cornercade. And guys, we did a live unboxing for you, but now we're gonna break this down and take a look at the actual units and do a full-on review, guys. And that's coming up right now. All right, guys, so you know how we do it. We're just gonna get right into it on the sides here. We got the nice screw cap covers leading into this giant marquee. Beautiful artwork on this one. They pretty much nailed this from head to toe with the correct artwork from the actual original arcade. You can have the System 22, breathtaking graphics, long-lasting thrills, and then finishing up with that no riser design with screw caps all up and down and throughout. So definitely pretty cool looking there. Right down here there is a seam, but when the calves are smashed together, you're not even gonna notice that. And then on the other side, guys, we're gonna have the exact same thing. I'll give you a shot right here. But awesome stuff. Good props from Arcade1Up to get those graphics right. They look beautiful. Coming over to one of the biggest marquees Arcade1Up has ever put out here. This cab stands 70 inches tall. This thing is acrylic printed. There's like a white coating behind this marquee, but she lights up beautiful and looks absolutely great. There's zero washout here, as you guys can tell from the camera. And the marquee is gonna wrap around down here to this red section, where normally it would say Namco on there, but the company's now Bandai Namco, so we're not gonna get any graphics on the front. So Arcade1Up tried to do its best to deliver what the licensor wants, and so that looks pretty cool, but there'll probably be some aftermarket options for that. But other than that, this marquee is crisp, beautiful, high def. You will not need to replace it, which I know sometimes that can be kind of a concern. Moving down here to the speaker grills. This is one of the first times here that we've seen these guys painted. The camera doesn't pick it up too well, but these are pretty much spot on matching as far as that goes. But they are pretty good sounding speakers. They're nice and loud. They could use a little bit more bass, but again, they're Arcade1Up speakers, so I'm not really expecting the most out of them. I think the best speakers on an Arcade1Up probably is the Fast and the Furious that recently came out. Those are probably like the best ones going on. Coming down to the 17-inch BOE monitor here. This thing is crisp and clean from all viewing angles. This thing looks great. 17 inches is the size. I know it looks a little small for a shooter, but the way the height is of the cabinet, and we will definitely get into that, it's playable. It's definitely playable. Could have used a 19, 20-inch monitor, of course. All shooters could. But it definitely doesn't take away from the gameplay. It's definitely playable. Getting down here to the bezel part of the control deck, there's the graphics there, like on the real arcade. Pretty cool stuff. Nice little simulation of what the real Time Crisis can look like. And then the control panel here. We're not going to see that new deck protector vinyl. This still has a clear plastic on it, but it's still super cool. Got the red gun and the blue gun for player 1 and 2. And then you got the buttons there with the toggle switches. This is a hard switch too, so it'll stay on if you have Alexa smart plugs, which is definitely convenient. And this one does have live capabilities for updates and leaderboards, which is awesome. I do wish that the guns had more of a better cable, like a braided cable, and that the cords were retractable of some sort, but this is what we're getting. The control panel kind of has a 3D effect as you go down here, kind of simulating the real arcade, which is nice. Bringing it down to the front kick plate here, We're going to have the Time Crisis logo, the Arcade1Up molded coin door with badging on it, and the Step On It icon from the real arcade with the foot pedal down below. I know there's been some controversy here making the coin door a little bit higher, kind of covering that Time Crisis logo, but again, this is where licensors come in and they say, hey, we want the logo on the front, so Arcade1Up has to oblige by it, and that's where the coin door is going to go. Unfortunately, I do wish that this was like a gray cream color like the original arcade, and that the coin door was much higher, right over that Time Crisis logo, but again, you got to work with all parties to make everybody happy, unfortunately. The pedal down below here, it does have a metal coating on it. It's pretty nice, but it is mostly plastic, and we will definitely get into that later in the review here. But that's going to be pretty much the aesthetics of Time Crisis, guys. So let's jump in to the guns and the foot pedal. All right, guys, so take a little bit closer look at the gun here. This gun feels really good in the hand. We're going to have the Arcade1Up logo there. We got a button here in case you don't want to use the foot pedal to dunk in Time Crisis and reload. We have a little slider here for simulation of what a real gun would be like in the arcades. This is all plastic. It's got a nice little weight. The gun feels good. It's light in the hand. And I'll show you guys a little clicking action right here. So they're simulating the cockback feature. I do wish that this was triggered by battery operated or something, because holding the trigger and squeezing this gun like this, it actually gets exhausting after 15-20 minutes of gameplay. So you can actually toggle this feature off. So if you just bring the gun back and lock it in, it'll turn it off. This one's got a nice little micro switch to that. It definitely feels good. It's plastic, you know, it is what it is. I have noticed too, while if you're using this button while dunking, because you don't really hold a gun like this, it kind of causes you to have your aim is off in the game. So it's there if you want it, but yeah, it's not really for me. I guess at the end of the day, I'll stick to the foot pedal. But it is definitely a nice gun. And then player 2, it's going to be the exact same thing. So I've noticed that I've actually played the game with this cockback feature off. So I'll just slide it back, you press this button, and then it locks it in place. So I've noticed that it's a lot easier to play the shooting games without that feature. Kind of a bummer because that was a cool feature that we were looking forward to using. Again, I wish it was kind of battery operated so it didn't exhaust your finger while playing the game. And guys, for anybody wondering real quick if the Big Buck Hunter Deluxe guns work for Time Crisis, I plugged my Big Buck Hunter Deluxe into the game and it actually works. The cool thing is you can actually use the pump handle to dunk. So I'll just show you guys real quick. I'm shooting them. I'm using the pump handle and we're getting the job done here with bad aim. So it's kind of an interesting little caveat switcheroo if you don't want to use the pedal or the guns. It's kind of fun using the shotgun here. But yeah, it does work. All right, guys, getting down to the pedal here. This is something kind of brand new to Arcade1Up. The pedal here has a pretty good click to it when you're stepping on it. And I like this metal coating here that they have on it. It's like a millimeter thick or whatever, but it is nice. I will say this though about the pedal, the majority of this is all plastic. It's got the little rubber stoppers here, but when you're on carpet, it doesn't really matter. I do like how it pulls out, so you can kind of adjust to your height and width the way you want it while you're shooting. But yeah, this is all plastic and it moves a lot during gameplay. For me, the way, you know, my foot maybe curves in, curves out to you guys, it always kind of spins to the left and you have to reset it. But I can kind of show you guys when I'm stepping on it, how that looks like. All right, so while you're playing the game, guys, and you're stepping on the pedal, it will creep forward and it will start to move on you on the carpet. So if this was all like metal or the plastic was a lot heavier, just a better material, I feel like this wouldn't move as much. But then you have to restart it in between, you know, time crisis zones and kind of keep playing with it. So the pedal is not the greatest. Like I said, it feels good, but it moves too much. So that's kind of one of the knocks on this cabinet. You know, going along with the gun cock backing feature. I applaud Arcade1Up for trying, but I think a little bit more research and development to these two things was kind of crucial. All right, guys, now let's power it on so you can see the startup screen. All right, guys, I'll show you the games list here and kind of go through some of the menu switches. You're going to control everything with the gun. And during the menu music here, we got the Time Crisis theme. Just take a second to just soak that all in. It's just a great theme song. One of my favorite things about this game is their soundtrack. When you're doing the boss battles, it just immersifies you in the experience. And that's part of the reason too, guys, why I take this cockback feature off. It's just so loud when you're playing it, you like can't hear the music, and plus the ambiance, the arcade, everything going on like that. Okay, so Time Crisis is gonna be the main title, guys. We're gonna switch it over to then Steel Gunner 2, and Point Blank. Guys, the stars of this show are gonna be Point Blank and Time Crisis, hands down. Steel Gunner's okay. I'll show you guys gameplay on all these games, but it's just like a side-scrolling shooter that you just hold the trigger down and spray and pray. It's pretty simplistic and easy. Settings here, you can change like the menu sound effects, network settings, connect to the internet. Gun calibration is done through here. You can always check for an update since this has Wi-Fi, which is great. If you hit player 2 during that game, it'll show you the difficulty. You can change the amount of lives. Damage effect, red for this. Gun flashing on. Sound and attract mode, you always got to have that on. So there's that. And then all games have those settings as well. So there you go, difficulty medium, same kind of thing. And then Point Blank, those settings, lives, and attract mode. So guys, I'm gonna jump into some Time Crisis gameplay so we can check that out.
This mission will soon be mine. The taste of revenge is sweet. Your father will pay the price for destroying the Imperial rule. What happened?
We've been invaded.
What?
Never mind. My men will gun him down. There! Shoot him!
Action! Halt! Action!
And I'm going to go ahead and slide the cockback feature on so you guys can kind of hear that real quick.
Action! Danger! Danger!
Ooh.
Action! Action!
All right, guys, I'm going to show you some Steel Gunner gameplay real quick. So this is one I never played with in the arcades or at all, ever. So this one you kind of just hold it down and you kind of spray and pray. This one's an okay game. I'm glad they at least put it on the cabinet. I always say more games, more better. I just don't know how much gameplay this guy is going to get in the arcade. Alright guys, we're going to get into Steel Gunner 2 now. The sequel to the first game that we were playing. Alright guys, we're going to get into Point Blank, the fourth and final game. This one I always said, like, think Mario Party, but straight up gun games if you guys haven't played this. Which I have never played this up until now. And I will say this, the recoil off for all of these games is a lot better. Which it kind of sucks because you want the recoil on. That's part of the fun of these games. And all games on this cabinet, besides Time Crisis, are going to be 2 players. So if you're playing with somebody, this makes this game that much more fun. All right, guys, if you wanted any comparison to the new Time Crisis up against the new Big Buck Hunter Deluxe and Fast and the Furious, you can kind of see where the screens compare. Fast and the Furious is a good standard height over there. Big Buck Hunter looks like it's 1 inch higher than the Fast and the Furious. It's got a great stance when you're shooting the guns. And then Time Crisis looks like it's about 2-3 inches lower than Big Buck. When you're playing it though, it doesn't seem like it's that small. I think where the misconception kind of lies is this marquee up top is just so big that it like kind of dwarfs the screen a little bit. Well, when you're actually playing, it's very playable. And you know, could Big Buck Hunter and Time Crisis and any shooter going forward use a 19-20 inch screen? Absolutely, I'm totally on board for that. Right now, we just have it as a 17-inch screen, and it's playable. It's not something that like I wouldn't not recommend if you couldn't play the game at all. For Big Buck Hunter, it's a little bit more hard because there's camouflage involved with the animals, so you really have to squint to see what you're shooting. Time Crisis, you pretty much know the bad guys from the not bad guys because all that's on screen is bad guys. So it's pretty easy to play that. Point Blank is pretty easy to play, and Steel Gunner, like you guys saw, pretty easy to play with that 17-inch screen. But going forward, I am a big advocate of Arcade1Up putting 19-inch screens in all shooters going forward. I think that would be a very big help for that. But I just wanted to give you guys a kind of screen height comparison if people had questions. But when I'm playing, I'm 6 foot tall, and when I'm shooting in Time Crisis, the height really isn't that bad. You're kind of looking down and shooting. You're very immersed with the game. The game is awesome. It plays well, as you guys saw. There's no emulation problems. It's very smooth. It reminds you of being at the arcades. That's where the bread and butter of this cabinet is for that main title game. And then Point Blank brings a lot of value in on that as well. All right, guys, so just some final takeaways to the Arcade1Up Time Crisis Deluxe cabinet. The cabinet looks great. I think they really did a really good job on it. Plays well. Do I wish the speakers were a little bit more bassier? Definitely. Do I wish they had a 19-inch screen here? For sure. The guns, I wish they were like more battery operated so you don't have to exhaust your trigger finger pulling the cock back on these. And the coin door a little bit higher, and the pedal is not that great. But to be quite honest with you, with all of that said, the marquee is gorgeous. I think they knocked it out of the park with the design. This is Arcade1Up's tallest cabinet to date at 70 inches. You can kind of see the height there. Next to Big Buck Hunter, that's 68 inches from the top of the marquee. But from the looks and aesthetics of this cabinet, they did a great job. The guns feel great. They're light, but they're still weighted. Yeah, and the other coin door you can't really do much on because of the licensor issues, but I think the biggest takeaway is just improving the pedal, making it way more heavier than what it is, so it's not sliding around during gameplay, and putting a big old 19-inch screen on that. I think this cab would have knocked it out of the park, guys. Is it worth $750? Probably not. I did sell one of my arcades to kind of make up the difference, so I only paid $450 for this. Is it worth it at that price? Absolutely. This has brought a ton of fun to the Cornercade, and we have a blast playing it. Just Point Blank and Time Crisis alone are great additions to the arcade. But yeah, at that price, the $750 price point, probably not. But you gotta understand, Terminator 2 was $699 when it came out, and a ton of people bought that just for the one game. Is this worth $50 more than the $699 price point? Yeah, if you're going to pay full price, because you get 2 games that are way better than Terminator 2 in my opinion. So it's up to you guys at the end of the day. Do you want to drop the $750? Or do you want to try to maybe sell a cab, wait till this goes on sale? All things considered, I do recommend getting this cab, but maybe waiting on more of a sale price if you guys want to pick it up on the low. But that's going to pretty much sum up my review on the Time Crisis Deluxe Arcade from Arcade1Up, guys. Super fun playing this game. You guys know what to do. Hit a like if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, guys. We always appreciate the support. Turn on notifications. Hit that bell so you guys can always see when we go live and post a video. But this is going to be Danny from the Cornercade, guys. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.